It is Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Martin Luther King Day. Good Monday to you. For a lot of you, you get today off. For the rest of us, we don't. But it is Martin Luther King Day. So many great quotes. And I tried to think of one. I couldn't pick one today. I was gonna pick a quote and give you an MLK quote today because I love a lot of his stuff. And I love a lot of his quotes that are used not only online but in video and stuff. Such deepness, such incredible stuff. So MLK Day today, and also just, man, it's good to be back. I think we've got the bugs behind us. Knock on wood. And we've had some interesting things over the last couple of weeks with our internet connection and stuff like that, but it's good to be back. Man, it was a great weekend for football. It was a great weekend because the Seahawks won. If they had not won, it would have been just an average weekend. But Seahawks win. They beat the 49ers. And did you watch last night's game? Chicago and the Rams, the LA Rams and Chicago Bears. Okay, I am not. I grew up in the Midwest, so I'm not a Bears fan. I got to be honest with you. I grew up being a Vikings fan, so did not grow up liking the Bears, but for just several reasons. Yesterday, I was cheering for the Bears, though I think they're scary, and I think it would have been a tough game for the Seahawks. It would have been interesting to see, man. Caleb Williams, if you have not seen that, and I played quarterback, if you have not seen that throw to the end zone after he's backing up like 20 yards, incredible. Go find it on the internet. It's going to be everywhere. I have to tell you, I questioned, and I'll be one of those people, and you can go back and look because there's stuff on social media that I questioned Caleb Williams coming out of college and whether Chicago did the right thing or not in drafting him number one. Answer to that question, obviously, is yes. I mean, dude was legit last night. Great game. You hate in those games to see anybody lose, but Bears go down, but there's a great future there. Ben Johnson and everybody in that organization. Man, that's a great game. Early game I missed. I was at church. Then I had work I had to do. Because TV and stuff, and so I was doing that, so I didn't get to see a lot of the Patriots Texans game. But wow, and this is tough. I love CJ. He's an Ohio State guy. Just think he's a great kid, good quarterback. But man. And the tough thing for something like that is now he goes into the whole season, the whole off season. Just that's all he thinks about. That was rough. That was a rough game. Hey, listen, we're going to do our my-snackies.com look in. We are in Florida because we should all be in Florida. The my-snackies.com. Hey, listen, if you love good snacks, and of course, Super Bowl around the corner now, got the championship games next week and then the Super Bowl, you need to get your order in. Go to my-snackies.com. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Key West. Yes, please. It is going to be tonight. Tonight in Ohio, where I live in Ohio, it is going to be the low tonight is they're saying is anywhere from 0 to -2 for a low tonight. It's going to be crazy. Yeah. So I would prefer to be in the Keys. In fact, my wife and I talked about that, and it's something that we're going to talk about here in a second. But when it's cold like this, you're like, I want to go someplace, or at least I want to get a good warm cup of coffee. The great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. Listen, if you haven't treated yourself, it's a new year. You need to treat yourself some great coffee. The folks 7 Weeks Coffee, use the promo code ATV10 when you order. Listen, maybe you've been on the fence about this. You've said, Rob, I've never had a small batch, small roast coffee before. You need to. 2026 is your year to do it. Year to try it. Go to 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 when you check out. And what we talked about just a second ago when I was talking about Key West, my wife and I have been talking about vacations, and this is kind of an interesting thing. People are planning the top 10 destinations for 2026. Top destinations in the United States. Number 1 is New York City. Number 2 is Las Vegas. Number 3 is Hawaii. Number 4 is Nashville, which is okay. I wouldn't put it at 4. But it's okay. I'm going to be actually in Nashville next month for some great meetings and also to be a part of the National Religious Broadcasters. If you're in the content world, it is a great event and you should check it out. Number 5 is New Orleans. I get that one. I would have had that probably at 4. Chicago's number 6. Number 7, Charleston, South Carolina. Key West. We just looked at Key West. Number 8, San Francisco's 9. And then a tie at 10 with DC and Boston. Wife and I have been talking about this. Chris and I have talked about this a lot, about going to Boston is one of our locations. Also, Charleston's on our list for this year. Went to Savannah last year, and it was incredible, just incredible. Savannah is, I would have put Savannah on that list, and I've traveled a good amount, and I would say that Savannah was amazing, wonderful place. Hey, listen, we got a great ministry. We're going to talk to JD King and his ministry. We're going to do that after these messages from our great sponsor, 7 Weeks Coffee.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy, a life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
Thanks to great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee, 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 when you check out. I'm having some. And listen, it's not just one brand. They have, one type. They have several amazing coffees. Now, personally, I'm a dark roast guy. But maybe you're a morning blend guy. The morning blend is really good. It's got a little hint of caramel in it. It just you can't really taste it, but it's just kind of there if it hits you every once in a while. So check out the great folks, 7 Weeks Coffee, 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10. Just fantastic coffee, and warms you up during these cold seasons. Excited to have Mr. JD King with us. JD, so good to have you here. Sorry you're feeling a little under the weather today.
Yeah, I'll get there, but thanks for having me.
JD, I want you to tell everybody about the ministry you're with. I had a chance to go through and do some research ahead of time, which is shocking because I rarely do research. I just usually fly by the seat of my pants. But I did some research about your organization, and man, it tugged at my heartstrings. So I want you to introduce it to everybody today here on the Morning Break.
Yes, we serve deaf children that live in poverty. And I say it often, it's not a topic that people really think about. It's not like you talk about the NFL yesterday in the games and then change the subject and say, hey, let's talk about deaf children in poverty now, sweetheart. It just not a whole lot of people ever think about deaf children in poverty. And the realization is because they don't have a voice for themselves. And there are 25 million deaf children that live in developing countries. That's a lot. Most people don't think that there's, that there's that many. And then those deaf children, only maybe 10% at most get an education. And the rest of them, at least over half of the rest of them, probably even more, don't even know sign language. It's not like a deaf person is born knowing sign language. A lot of people don't think about, well, how does a deaf person learn sign language? Well, they learn it from their parents, or maybe a teacher. But in poverty, parents don't have a way, 9 out of 10 deaf children are born to hearing parents. So the hearing parents don't know sign language. And in poverty, they don't have any way to learn sign language to teach their child. Then on top of that, deaf children are thought of as stupid. Deaf children are also thought of as cursed. So this is a real thing. They believe, there's a belief that deafness came and is a result of a generational curse. And so sometimes the parents don't want the child because they think that curse will spread. Sometimes they'll beat the child, the deaf child, because they think that curse is, maybe going to spread throughout the family. So it's something I didn't understand before I founded Deaf Child Hope International. But since I can't believe the challenges and the plight that deaf children in poverty are going through. And then the Bible says faith comes by what? Hearing, right? Well, if you can't hear, how are you going to learn about Jesus if somebody doesn't use sign language? And then, well, okay, so if you're deaf, say faith would come through sign language, seeing the gospel shared with you. Well, what if you don't even have a language at all? And so that is, the deaf children in poverty are extremely isolated, extremely taken advantage of, and have very little chance for hope or a bright future or knowing Jesus as their savior. So that's why we exist.
So what I'm always curious, because you said you started this. What was that moment where you went, I need to do something?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I get asked that a lot. It wasn't necessarily, there was one moment that I do feel God spoke to me about this issue. And it was actually, I went through what was called the Compassion International Experience. And you walked through different rooms, and it was in this last room, they had rows and rows of deaf children, or of children in poverty. And just a little bit of my history. My dad was in deaf ministry. He actually helped start, or actually started the translation of the Bible into American Sign Language, the organization he started. So I was aware of deafness and the challenges. But in that room, at the end of the compassion experience, I felt God say something to me. He said, well, what about deaf children in this same situation? In poverty, a child, lose both of your parents to AIDS. What's your life like? And that's kind of what the compassion experience does. And I was in that room, and I just felt God saying, well, what about the deaf children? And it was from that point on that it wasn't like I walked out of that room and God said, start Deaf Child Hope International. There was a series of events that, made it. And there was a moment in time where I'm like, okay, God, I feel you're asking me to do this, and, put one foot in front of the other after that. But
so to give everybody kind of an idea, we've done the high view. Now, what does the ministry do on the ground? What is kind of some of the stuff that you guys are involved in?
That's a great question. We one of the things we do, it's a key thing, and that is get deaf children sponsored. So we model ourselves after like a Compassion or World Vision, and it's those sponsorships. People right now, we have people from 40 states and I think 5 countries that sponsor deaf children in 12 countries. So deaf children that are sponsored through us live in 12 countries and 24 locations. So, for example, there's a school in Uganda that's got like 14, 15 deaf children, and it's very remote, and they don't have money for food. They don't really have much money to to clothe the kids. And it's the sponsorship that emboldens the leaders of that school and to pay for clothing, to pay for curriculum, to pay for better, maybe it's desks, maybe it's facilities. But we partner, just like Compassion partners with churches and mission groups. We partner and then get those deaf children sponsored, and then we provide some consulting and some encouragement and some knowledge on how to educate those deaf children and stabilize the situation and then teach them the gospel. And so we work with them. We also operate an orphanage in Kenya, fully operate an orphanage of about 30 deaf children in Kenya. So we've been doing that for about 12 years. So
what's the process? Because you were talking about this, about that, a lot of times children that are born into poverty, and a lot of times their parents can hear, and so they don't know sign language. So what's the process like in the orphanage in Kenya? What is the process? Let's say that you were to intake a 8 or 9-year-old child. How do you start to teach them sign language? How does that process work?
Yeah, that's good. So if often they're young, 5, 6, 7 years old or even younger, and so then, but it's true that even we have a video of an 80-year-old lady in Uganda never learned sign language, right? But if because there's been nobody there to teach, but if a child comes into a school or one of the orphanages we work with, typically the teacher there starts to work with the child, just like the Helen Keller story where she felt water and then they signed water to her and she started learning sign. That's kind of how it works with a deaf child. Is you just start teaching a few signs, and whether it's going to the bathroom or water or food or thank you, and then they start catching on, and then the children around them also start to help teach them, and then they observe the sign language around them, and it's a kind of the combination of all of that. They just start to pick up sign language. It's not like in the States there's YouTube and there's a lot of resources to learn sign language. Poverty, that's not the case, so
it's a lot of the hands-on stuff then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what, like, looking forward, I mean, obviously you said, I think it was 12 years ago you started this.
It's 15 now. 15 years
okay.
ago. Yeah.
So what is, I'm a goal person. I live my life
absolutely
by goals. That's my thing. So what is like your 5-year goal for the ministry and what you're doing? What are you looking at?
Yes. I mean, let's just say vision in general. We want to reach as many of those 25 million as possible. So we have a big vision of, I know that some of these other sponsorship organizations that exist, some of them got a couple million children sponsored through them. We're like, why wouldn't we have, more than that at someday, but at 5 years, we would love to not only double or triple, we'd love to be 10 times, reaching 10 times, 20 times more deaf children than what we are. In fact, even more than that. I mean, we have an amazing team, something kind of cool. I don't know if you remember Miss America from 1995. She was the only deaf Miss America. Heather Whitestone is her name.
Oh, yes, I do remember her now that you said her name. Yes.
Yeah. So she just became a board member with us. So that's kind of and I think she's going to open some doors for us. And we have an amazing team, a committed team, and I feel very honored to work with the team that we have. And we're very passionate because we have seen, this fall, we highlighted the story of a little boy who his parents, and I'm not making this up, his parents tried to kill him because he was deaf. They hung him in a gunny sack, his dad did, in the backyard. And it just makes me almost, weep when I think about it. Then they let him go to the streets, left him. And then this man picked him up and started to help him and got his, wounds healed. And then now this little boy is at one of our partner, we call them field partner locations. He's learning sign language. We got videos of him learning sign language. He loves Jesus now. He's learning about Jesus. His future is bright. And so we've heard story after story after story of these deaf children who are isolated and abused. And how can you not want to try to reach as many of those as possible? So we have a very passionate team. We're excited, we're working hard. And so it's, actually we have a board meeting this Thursday. So, we'll try to put together our vision for this coming year and try to reach more deaf children. So,
and it's so sad because something you said, it makes that story even more powerful, is a lot of these, parents think that it's a curse.
yes,
And that
it's ridiculous. Yes.
It's so sad. And I can't imagine living in a world of silence. And
You're right.
It hurts me because there is probably, for these little children, like the story you told, they're in such confusion because they can't, they're not hearing any of this.
And they have no way to express themselves, no way to, like, let's say they want to go play with some friends in the neighborhood. They're going to potentially, not always, but make fun of them, or there's a disconnect for sure. You can't laugh and share life without communication. And that's what's so key, is communication. Helen Keller said, my blindness separates me from things, material things. Like if she got a new car, we hope she wouldn't drive it, right? But she wouldn't care what it looked like. She wouldn't care if it was a Yugo or a Lexus. But she said, my blindness separates me from things, but my deafness separates me from people. And that's one of the struggles that deaf people in general, right? Not just deaf children in poverty, but deaf people in general struggle, because you can go to the gas station or the supermarket, and there people don't know sign language, and they should. I mean, we probably should have more training in that as we go through school. But deaf children in poverty they don't even have any way to learn it. Their parents don't have any way to learn it, to teach it. The kids around them in the neighborhood don't know sign language, so they're just you're right, it's just a very isolating, lonely existence. And now, so if this deaf child shows up at a deaf school or deaf orphanage, all of a sudden they have community. All of a sudden they're valued. Like, hey, you have value. You're worth educating. You're worth investing in, right? Then they also can sign with those children, and they can be in, get an education and then learn about the gospel message there. So that's what
What's
we're
your
trying to do.
favorite success story so far, JD?
Well, there's a little girl at our orphanage at Lance's Deaf Orphans. Her parents were passed away when we found her. Her aunt was very poor and taking care of her, but had no way to even send her to school because there's no school around that use sign language. Well, we operate Lance's Deaf Orphans, 100% operate this orphanage. She came to the school not knowing any language. She has been there for quite some time. I just saw her in March, and I'm going to see her again in August. And you know what? She's bright. She's just beautiful. I think she might end up someday being a teacher there at Lance's Deaf Orphans. And it's a thrill to see God use the work that you're involved in to provide hope. It's hope. And that when we say hope, you can't, the name of your organization can't be too long, right? But that word hope, there's some power in the word hope. We say hope a lot, like, I hope you have a good day. Hope hope your Christmas holiday is awesome. But, and the same thing with the word love, right? Hey, I love you, and we sometimes maybe can you overuse the word love? I don't know. Can you overuse the word hope? Probably not, because true hope means you got a chance in the future for something better, And so, but the word hope for us is, hey, food, water, shelter, clothing, safety, language, then the gospel, maybe education beyond high school into college, and maybe a career and a family. That's all encompassed in that word hope when we look at that. So,
hey, JD, before we go to break, give everybody the website so people can go find out more information.
Yes, it's deafchildhope.org.
That's it. Hey, thank you so much for being with us today, my friend.
It's been awesome. Thanks for having me.
Coming up this April, U.S. Christian Chamber of Commerce event in Orlando, which sounds awesome right now. Orlando, Florida would be incredible. And yeah, that's going to be a great event. And you need to be a part of it. U.S. Christian Chamber of Commerce. You can find it on our website, abundanttv.com. Hey, listen, something exciting. Tomorrow, brand new show from my beautiful wife and I. The Robin Kristen Show, 8 p.m. Eastern time on the network. And you get to see me look like I'm frozen to death. I am super cold. We are outside. We shoot the show outside. It is super funny. Anyway, breaking news, by the way, Sean McDermott out in Buffalo as the Buffalo Bills coach. Of course, I follow my sports. Also, tomorrow night, and you need to check this out. If you haven't done it yet, you need to go to our website again and check out a brand new show called Salted, as we bring together women to talk about faith, life, and just real things. It's real life stuff. Check that out tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. It debuts on the network. So following our hour-long special tomorrow will be a great show called Salted. You need to check it out. I love what they're doing. I, of course, get to see a sneak peek ahead of time, so I know what's happening with the show. But you can check it out tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time on the Abundant TV network. Hey, listen, if you haven't already, download the app. Go to your favorite location, whether that's Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or on your mobile device. You can find us in all of those locations. Again, Sean McDermott out in Buffalo. And I didn't even get a chance to ask you, do you think that was a catch or wasn't a catch? Interesting things. Plus, you know what? We went through the travel thing. A friend of mine texted me. Another place that wasn't on the list to travel this year that's really hot is San Diego. And I noticed that because San Diego is one of my favorite places to go get great food and hang out on the beach. Anywhere would be better than being in Ohio tomorrow, where the high is going to be -2. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been the Morning Break. We'll see you tomorrow.